Hi everyone, welcome to SPED 772, Consultation and Collaboration. This is our first Instructor Insights for the course, so for week one. So this week is all about the foundations of collaboration. Collaboration and consultation are two essential skills for special education professionals. So within our first week, we will look at the various ways that we collaborate with other school staff members, administrators, parents, and our students. Our text takes us on a really nice journey of developing a collaborative consultation model. But since every school is different and the expectations are different in each building, you'll have the opportunity to design a collaborative consultation model that will work for your setting. So this week, we'll begin by exploring resources for collaborating with colleagues, develop strategies to create partnerships within your school to serve your students, and begin formulating your own model of collaborative consultation. We will build knowledge through the first 6 weeks to get to the culmination of the course with the creation of your model. So that'll be the final assessment for the course. So beginning, I believe it's in week 2 or week 3. I'm not sure which one right now. I will share the model with you. There'll be a template. I'll share an example of the way someone has done a model for a school. And then each week, in addition to the discussion board and assignment, I'll recommend that you do certain sections of your model that coincide with the work that we'll be doing that week in the class. If you do pieces of your final project of that model as we go along, then by the end of the course, it'll just be fine-tuning things, getting a little bit of feedback from your peers, and submitting it. If you wait until the very end to do your model, like occasionally students do, it'll be a ton of work. So I recommend when I suggest that you do a section as we go along, that you do it. But that'll be coming down the line. So this will be an exciting journey. It'll be one of discovery as well as creativity as we learn to share responsibility with others to support our students with disabilities. And it'll be challenging. It'll be interesting. There's always a lot of growth and a lot of good discussion because it's easier said than done. So the tasks for this week, you have a discussion board introduction that I shared with you in the course welcome orientation section. So make sure that you get that done by Wednesday at 11:59 p.m. It's not graded. However, it is required. It's a way for us to get to know each other and build some community within our course. Number 2, print and read the syllabus. That's found within the course welcome and orientation. I also emailed it to you. Also take a really close look at the APA information and the discussion board guidelines. You'll have some readings and viewings that you'll do this week. I'll show you those within the course in a moment. You have discussion board number 1. And I have 2 deadlines in parentheses here just because I want to make sure that I'm clear on this, because in the past I feel really bad that sometimes students were misled. So within our Canvas system, it's going to show that the discussion board is due on Sunday at 11:59 p.m. And the final thing is then. However, the first deadline is Wednesday at 11:59 p.m. unless I say differently, but this week it's a Wednesday at 11:59 p.m. and it almost always is in this course. That's when you need to have your initial post up. If you don't have it by then, you do lose points. And the reason I ask that you have it up by Wednesday at 11:59 p.m. is so that gives time for your peers to read and respond to your post. And it really lends itself to a more engaging discussion board. If we had everyone waiting till the weekend to post, then there's not much time for us to read and respond to one another. So the first deadline is 11:59 p.m. on Wednesday, unless otherwise noted. The final deadline is 11:59 p.m. on Sunday. So after you post, then that's when you go back and read and respond to your peers. And the discussion board then closes 11:59 p.m. on Sunday. I'm pretty active on the discussion board, reading and interacting and things. You'll see me around there quite a bit. Then this week you also have a descriptors of competencies assignment. I'll go over that in a minute here too. If you have questions about any of these things after you look within Canvas, please don't hesitate to email me or post your question on the instructor's FAQ. So let me go into Canvas now and just give you a little bit of a tour of this week. So I'm in student view right now. I'm in our course. So week 1, the overview. It's in a nutshell what I talked about earlier in my presentation. Instructor Insights is where you will find what you're watching right now. The week 1 readings. So the required textbook readings this week are chapters 1, 2, and 3 from the Detmer text. Then there's 3 different pieces of information, 2 videos and a document that I want you to take a look at. I've outlined why I'm having you do it above each one, so please read that so you have some context for why you're reading or viewing it, and also you'll know what you should be thinking about or looking for within each. Then you have your discussion board, and see up here what I mean. It says it's due on the 27th. That's when it is finally due. However, your first post is due by Wednesday. So that can be misleading sometimes. So you have 4 choices. So you pick one of the 4 to respond to. It's completely up to you. Just be sure that regardless of what you choose, that you use APA correctly and you follow the discussion board guidelines. There's a link to them right here. And in order to do your first post, to do your initial post, you just hit reply and you can get going with that. The week 1 assignment here, it says it's due on the 27th at 11:59 p.m. It's worth 25 points. This is where you're going to do your descriptors of competencies. So basically you're going to be reading this week and learning about the characteristics, traits, and dispositions required of educators to effectively work together to support students with disabilities. And you're going to apply that learning, once again, by doing one of the following. So you have 2 choices. You just do one, a job description or an essay. It's up to you. It's not a ton of writing, 500 words. Here's all the information about it, how to save it, and this and that. And here's a rubric that you'll be graded with. I'm going to go back to home here and just remind you about a couple things. So if you have any questions that you think everyone else might have about something, you can post them to the instructor Q&A here, or you can email me. It's up to you. Here's where that introductions discussion is too that you need to do this week. Okay, let's go back to our slideshow. So that's kind of a rundown of our tasks for the week. There's also a calendar within the course that you can print it off so that you can have a visual and kind of a checklist of the assignments that are due. Play around in the course welcome and orientation, and you'll be able to see that within one of the modules, and you also can download and print a PDF if you want to. Okay, so I just wanted to, before I wrap things up, present a little bit of a challenge for you. So I was really engaged in a newsletter that I just read from DPI. So I get regular updates sent to my email inbox from DPI, the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction, and also the Minnesota Department of Education. I do both of those because so many students in our program, actually the majority, come from those 2 states, so I want to stay current on things. And it made me think about this week's topic. And a trait that I look for a colleague to have is being current on teaching practices. So this is your time to do that. Make sure that these 7 weeks are a time for you to grow professionally as an educator and to share that information with colleagues. So I challenge all of you to take some time to review each of the resources that I have here that I've shared, and to sign up for your state's or country's special education news updates. Also, consider joining a professional organization if you haven't yet. The Council for Exceptional Children is a great one, the CEC. There's also some international organizations too, and I should have put that up here. Maybe I'll share that another week. But those are great ways for you to stay current and connected, and they'll help you in contributing to the teams that you're part of when supporting students with disabilities. So the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction, here's a link to their news update page, and you can sign up for their news updates. If you go here, I'm having a little bit of a trouble with my mouse. There we go. Also, there's the Minnesota Department of Education. Here's a link to their agency's newsletters and updates. And then the Council for Exceptional Children. This is one that I find particularly helpful for me in staying current because I love listening to podcasts. And I think the main reason I do is because I'm busy, like many of you. So I can be multitasking. I can be driving or working on other tasks while learning and growing and staying current in my profession. And as I was working on this presentation today, I was listening to a podcast about co-teaching. So this is a link to get to the podcast page, and they have different categories of them. So research and practice, and you've got this. This one is more current recent studies and things like that. This is more practical. Both are really good. The one that I listened to today is from the You Got This. And I'm having trouble with my mouse today for some reason. And co-teaching in the real world. It's about 11 minutes. It's Marilyn Friend. I think I'm saying it right. I always hesitate when I do that. I don't think it's Friend. I think it's Friend. And I've heard her speak, and I've been to a lot of her workshops on co-teaching. And I think actually some of her research is mentioned in our text when we get to that section. But a real practical podcast about co-teaching, and it really addresses a lot of the challenges because co-teaching is challenging. So if you get a chance while you're doing some work for this course this weekend, I highly recommend taking a listen to this. It really goes well with the information that we'll be studying in the course. And I will share these links. They'll be below this video in the Instructor Insights too. So you can just click on them and check them out. Okay, well, I think that does it. Have a great week. This is my miniature Schnauzer Liebchen that you might have seen in some other pictures that I think I posted it. I did post a picture of her and my husband in my introduction on our introduction discussion board. But anyway, she always makes me smile. So have a great week, and let me know if you have any questions about anything, and I will see you on the discussion board. Thanks.